Hello again, all. It is good to see you guys again. I hope this message finds you all doing well. I wanted to reach out today. Remember, we're doing this every day. Nurses supporting nurses. This is what we do. Today, I wanted to talk about rest. It's part of the Rest and Recovery for Nurses series. So, if rest used to look one way for you and now it looks completely different, or it looks harder or unfamiliar, this episode is for you. Today, we're talking about something many nurses quietly struggle with: the way rest changes over time. What worked before might not work now. What used to make you feel restored, you might not be able to assess and access that again or anymore. In comparison, especially when you think about your past self, not being able to rest the way you did before can make you feel like a failure, but it's not a failure. This is just a season. You know, many of us grew up believing that rest had its own specific definition. When we think of rest, we feel, well, if we sleep, I should feel better. If I take time off, I should reset myself. If I rest the right way, I should be able to bounce back. But rest itself isn't static. Rest shifts as life itself shifts. Your capacity changes. And when your capacity changes, burnout now enters the scene. It could be your capacity itself. It changes when grief appears. And we have to admit, we deal with so much grief every day. Every day. It shows up when we allow chronic stress to just continue to build. It shows up when our responsibilities increase. And you often find that our capacity changes when our nervous system itself has been pushed for too long. And I invite you, if you haven't seen it before, take a look. It's a couple of videos back when we talk about what our nervous systems experience after a nursing shift. So when rest looks different now, it doesn't mean that you yourself are doing it wrong. It just means that you're in a different season. One of the hardest comparisons nurses make is not comparisons to other people, it's comparisons to ourselves. We often beat up on ourselves and use ourselves as benchmarks. We'll say, well, I used to be able to handle more than this. I used to be able to bounce back faster. I don't understand why I can't rest like I used to. When you think about it, that version of you lived in a different context. That version of you hadn't seen what you've seen now. It hasn't had to hold and take in the things that you've taken in as far as your career has spanned. That former you hasn't carried what you're currently carrying. So resting, just like your past, it may, your past self, you may not feel like that person is possible or here anymore, or that that's even appropriate. And it doesn't mean that you yourself have declined. It just means that you've lived. You've lived a life and you're not in the same place anymore. So I want us to think about rest in survival seasons and the rest we have when we're in healing seasons. Not all rest serves the same purpose. In survival seasons, rest can look like bare minimum care, just enough to get through daily life. Rest in survival seasons can mean that you cancel plans. You choose to be quiet over just doing a lot. And honestly, rest in survival seasons can look like saying no more often. It's almost like you have to. It's almost like if you don't, it will break you. But in healing seasons, rest can look like gentle routines that you put together for yourself, reconnecting with what makes you happy and made you joyful. It could look like rebuilding your energy, but slowly, and really emotionally processing things. In some seasons, rest really can just look like you didn't push yourself today. And honestly, that counts for a lot. Listen, you don't get extra credit for resting the hard way. Okay? Again, you are not competing against anyone else in this life. You're competing with yourself to be the best version of you that you can be. In all honesty, everything else is irrelevant. So when you think about why rest can feel unfulfilling right now, sometimes you'll hear nurses say, I rested, but it didn't help. I really did have time off, but I feel just as fatigued as I did before. And nothing feels like it's really restoring you anymore. It doesn't mean that rest itself is failing. It just means that yeah, you're resting at a wrong layer, a wrong point in your life. It could mean that your needs have changed and your needs have shifted from physical needs to emotional needs. It can mean that your nervous system needs to feel safe before it feels energy. It could be that you're even grieving something that you haven't even named yet, or even have a name to put to it yet. Rest that worked before might not meet the needs that you have in your life right now. Life changes. Life be lifing. And that's not something that you need to fix. We always feel like we're in fixing mode. That just means that it's something that we need to listen to. So I need you to give yourself permission to change your definition of rest. And remember, this space will always be a judgment-free space. I say it every day because I mean this. So here is a gentle truth. Remember, we're dealing with ourselves gently. So here's a gentle truth. You are allowed to redefine rest as many times as you need to. What rest looks like this week can look very different than what rest looks like next week. And rest does not have to look like you being productive, you improving things, you making the most of your time. Sometimes rest looks like letting yourself move and be slower, letting go of certain expectations, letting what you do today be enough for today. And honestly, above all, rest can look like letting yourself be human. You are a human being. You are being, you're living in this life. You're not a human doing, you are a human being. You're not lazy, you're adapting to life and what this life looks like for you. So instead of asking, why can't I rest properly? Why am I still so tired? What's wrong with me? Try asking yourself, what does this season require? What would feel supportive for me right now? And what can I stop expecting from myself today? Ask yourself that. What can I stop expecting from myself today? These are questions that create compassion instead of creating pressure. And we have to be honest. We can pull compassion out of a hat for everyone else but ourselves. We have to be kind to ourselves. We have to be gentle with ourselves. We have to show grace to ourselves. So if rest looks different for you right now, it doesn't mean that you failed at recovery. It just means that your body and your mind are asking for something new. You're in a different place in space now. Your body, your mind, it requires something different, something new. So before I go, I'm going to leave you with this. And again, a gentle question for you to ask yourself. What if rest isn't about doing it better, but about meeting yourself where you are? If you feel comfortable, I'd love to hear from you. How has rest changed for you over time? Or what does rest look like in this particular season of your life? You don't need to rest like you used to. You just need to rest like you need to rest right now. It's not about the past. It's about what you need now. And that is what's going to lay the foundation for you in your future. Again, I am so glad you're here. We're nurses who are supporting other nurses. So I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. And until then, take care, be well, and stay safe, guys.